Hi, reading group. So I am going to be reading aloud chapters 9 and 10. Chapter 9 is called On Our Own, and I'll attach pictures of the pages too in case you want to just read this on your own. On Our Own. I had breakfast with my mother and father. Mush had a donut and a cup of coffee after they left for work. I've never been a breakfast sort of dog, she said. We spent most of the morning in the woods. Mush was able to notice all sorts of things I had never noticed. There's a fox in these woods, she said. There is? How can you tell? I asked. Oh, you can smell it plain as day. Foxes stink. I sniffed. I don't smell anything special, I said. Sniff again, Mush said. Close your eyes when you sniff. It just smells like the woods, I said. You are smelling everything all at once. Smell the smells one at a time, Mush said. I tried. That's grass, I said. That's moss. That's some kind of flower. That's tree bark. And, what is that? That's the fox, Mush said. Nasty, isn't he? That's how a fox smells, I asked. Yes, Mush said. Want to see him? Hey, fox, come out and show yourself. When Mush called the fox, I heard her in my head. I was able to understand what she was saying to the fox. What my ears heard was a sort of whine, almost like a whistle. Then I heard a rough, raspy sound coming from somewhere nearby. Oh, no, I won't, I heard in my head. You'll tear me to bits, you horrible big dog. I will do no such thing, and you know it, Mush was telling the fox. Even if I touched you, I'd have to take 5 baths. This is unbelievable, I said. I can understand what you and the fox are saying to each other. How can this be? You must be a special kid, Mush said to me. And to the fox, she said, Are you going to come out, or do I drag you out? The fox came out of the bushes. It was so beautiful it almost hurt my eyes. Its fur was a bright orange red like nothing I had ever seen. Its pointy nose and tiny feet were so perfect, and its bushy tail was carried so proudly it seemed like the king of animals, even more wonderful than Mush. Here's a picture of the fox. However, Mush said, guessing or hearing what I was thinking, it smells like stale fish. Have you had a good look? The fox said. I have things to do, you know. Yes, thank you, Mush said, and take a bath. Go chase your tail, you big pussycat, the fox said, and disappeared into the underbrush. Foxes are all like that, Mush said. Too smart for their own good. This is great, I said. Show me more. Tomorrow, Mush said. We have to go home and fix lunch now. And there's a picture of Kelly and Mush watching the fox. Okay, so the comprehension questions for Chapter 9, On Our Own. Number 1. What animal does Mush smell in the woods? Number 2. How many baths does Mush say she would have to take if she touched that animal? Number 3. How do you think Kelly can understand Mush? And number 4, what does the fox smell like? So those are the comprehension questions for Chapter 9, On Our Own. Now I'll read Chapter 10, A New Way of Doing Things. Lunch was Spanish omelets and homemade potatoes. Fried potatoes, prepared by Mush, with me peeling and slicing the potatoes. Mush showed me how. Are we going back to the woods? I asked Mush after she had washed the dishes. I dried. Have you got any money? Mush asked. I have lots of money. I made it babysitting, I told her. Get your money, Mush said. I think we should hike into town and buy a few things. Like what? I asked. Like groceries, Mush said. You are going to cook supper tonight. I am? You are, and I am going to help you. But first, come into the garage and help me. I don't know why, but I've never been any good with knots. In the garage, Mush had found my old red wagon and some clothesline. She had me tie the clothesline to the wagon, making a sort of loop and a short piece of clothesline from one side of the loop to the other, making a big letter A. Now, toss the clothesline into the wagon. You can pull it by the handle on the way there, Mush said. You know, they aren't going to allow you inside the market, I said. Why not? Mush asked. No dogs. It's a rule, I said. What a silly rule, Mush said. Well, I will wait outside with the wagon. On the way to town, I will tell you what to buy, and you can write it down in your notebook. I was hoping that on the way to town, you would tell me how you happened to leave your planet and come to Earth, I said. I'll tell you another time, Mush said. Now, let's get started. Here's a picture of the wagon. All right, so comprehension questions for Chapter 10, a new way of doing things. Number 1, what did Kelly and Mush eat for lunch? Look up the recipe for this dish and list the ingredients. Can be any recipe you find on the internet for this specific dish and write down the ingredients. Number 2, what is Mush going to wait in while Kelly goes to the market? So I will email your parents the video of me reading aloud the 2 chapters and the comprehension questions.